Hi everybody, welcome to today's video, which is about my favorite books. So I'm going to talk about these guys here, my book heroes, the ones I read over and over again. I'm sure you have yours as well. I think there are certain books that just really get in your heart and stay there and become a lovely place to hang out. So let's talk about mine. I always talk about this one. I've talked about it in previous videos because I'm obsessed. This is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and the name is right here, so I know it. This book was recommended to me by so many people 2 years ago. It was recommended so constantly that I resisted it because I always think, oh please, how good could it be? And then finally I downloaded it as an ebook, and oh my god. It starts with the world ending, as all good books do, and it follows this group of actors, Shakespearean actors, post-apocalyptic, as they have like just a script or two to work with, and they travel around what remains of America, and it's sort of the only art in the world. They are afraid. It's a dangerous time, and it is just magical. They are looking for hope, and they're looking for redemption, and they're looking for life. I can't tell you anymore, I'm not giving it away, but read this book and be changed, my friends. The second book I'm going to talk about is a book I read when I was at university. J.D. Salinger is one of those writers you read when you're like 19 or 20 and you're searching for the meaning of life and the meaning of literature. A friend recommended this book, Raise High the Roof Beam Carpenters, which is about the Glass family. Salinger wrote almost exclusively about this one family of young siblings and the things they're learning. They range in age from, title alone is a thing that has just stayed with me. One of the brothers is getting married. And on the day he's to get married, his sister leaves him this message. The roof beam is the thing. When you put the roof beam up on the house, the whole house will stand. It is build your house, like build it strong. I'm gonna get emotional. It is a thing that I think whenever I'm going to do something very brave or very dangerous, something that I'm taking a chance on, and this is where it came from. How I love this book. And the internet is split on this book. I am like the 50-50. People hate it or they love it. And I am in the love it camp. I wanted to move into this book and just curl up and live there. Tana French is an Irish writer who writes crime novels set in Dublin. Her Dublin Murder series, I believe it's called. And each book has a different main character, which is kind of annoying. I'm sorry, Tana, I love you. But you fall in love with a character and then you don't see them again. In this one, you get the best character. Detective Cassie Maddox. She's small and muscular and clever and young and dealing with all that entails. As this book begins, a body is found by her boyfriend, who's also a detective, who calls her Shaken because the face, it looks like her. And he doesn't tell her that. She goes out and sees it and has this moment of epiphany. This person also has been living under one of the names that Cassie used as an undercover cop. So obviously, somehow this person knew of her and she'd never seen her in her life. And let me tell you, Dublin is not a big city. She has to investigate, looking exactly like the victim, and I'm not going to tell you how she does it, but I will tell you it is quite something, and I loved the story. I bought it completely. I know it's unlikely. I get it. Don't at me. But it's so fun. It's a great mystery. She's a lovely character. It's a wonderful setting. I've read it 3 times, that's all I'm saying. My next book is another old one, The Crack Up by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is the first edition. It was actually published after he died. It was compiled by his editor. Love F. Scott Fitzgerald. I just love him. He was like, I was in love with him when I was in my 20s. I read every single book he wrote and then cried when I found out he was dead and could never write another one because he didn't write enough. He was an alcoholic and a depressive, and he could not sort his life out. And he knew it. The book he wrote about him and Zelda Fitzgerald, his wife, going mad in the 20s and the early 30s and destroying their love, destroying their relationship, destroying their careers. It's so raw and he's so honest. He writes lovely things like, it was typical of our precarious position in New York that when our child was to be born, we played safe and went home to St. Paul. It seemed inappropriate to bring a baby into all that glamour and loneliness. Oh my god. I get goosebumps reading this book because he held nothing back. He wrote about how messed up he was. He wrote about how sad he was about his life in this raw, brutal details. If you want to know F. Scott, you read this. And if you want to know going mad, read this. And if you want to know nervous breakdowns, read this. And relationships falling apart and regret in a funny, charming, beautiful way. So just bloody look at this, will you? Look at this beauty. Everything is thought of. But wait, there's more. Good God, my friends. Look at the black. It's just as black as my soul. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which came out a few years ago and is just bloody brilliant, and it just makes me sad that I didn't write it. Basically, it's about a circus that is remarkably mysterious. It travels only at night. It doesn't tell anybody where it's going. It doesn't announce itself. It simply appears in your town if you're lucky, and it only is open for 1 or 2 nights, and then it's gone, and it's gone when it's gone. You don't know when it's going. It's a place of great mysteries, possibly magical, but could it just be skill? Nobody knows. And it follows a couple of people who are involved with it, related to it, connected to it, and obsessed with it. Every single character is delightful. The circus itself, though, if somebody doesn't open a night circus, I'm going to be so disappointed. This is a first edition of Generation X by Douglas Copeland. It is the most amazing book. It's the first time I ever truly saw myself in a book. It is about being young and having a dead-end job and no money, and parents who have a lot of money and good jobs but are not sharing. It is a mixture of a story about a group of young people dealing with this. Also, it's filled with art. Like Dry, don't worry mother, if the marriage doesn't work out, we can just get divorced. He was ahead of us all. Douglas, I love you. Please be my friend. He'd like me. I have read this book so many times that I think I can definitively say that at this stage in my life, this is my favorite book. Donna Tartt's The Secret History, which I read when it first came out. It is about a young man who goes to the most expensive university in America on a scholarship. Discovers all these beautiful young, there may be something familiar in here, beautiful young rich people who are very clever. They are quite seductive. He kind of falls in love with them. The only problem is it opens with a murder. We don't see who commits the murder, and then it tells sort of backwards how it got to this point. You know who's dead, and I think you kind of know who did it. But the book is about like getting there. Like how on earth did this beautiful group of people, so smart, get to this point that they would commit a crime? It's a bit mad. It's quite fast-paced. It's quite seductive, just like the characters. And it is the kind of book that you can read over and over again. And it's so layered. It is the kind of book you can read 3, 4, 5 times and get something different out of it every time. I love you. As of this hour, on this day, at this moment, these are my favorite books. All of them influenced me in some ways, except this one because it wasn't out yet when I started writing, but it influences me now. Also Station 11 because I haven't written Apocalypse, because why would I? It's been done and it's perfect. These are the books I love that fire me up. So the ones I go back to when I'm having a reading slump, I pick up one of these and I just like, because I know it's going to be my happy place. In the comments below, please tell me if you've read any of these, if you liked them, and what are your favorite books. Let's share ideas. And thanks for being here. Subscribe, hang out, be my friend. Mwah.